I first started, I had a best friend at the time, and his older brother did tattoos. And basically, I would hang out at his house all the time and ask Ariel, who's doing tattoos at the house, yo man, I really want to learn this, teach me. And he would always brush me off. So I always bring him like drawings and just show him I really was able to do it. And he told me instead of him teaching me to go to the shop, I brought them my portfolio. They showed me the proper ropes in terms of tattooing, and that was my entry point. Graduated high school, got my first tattoo, and I was enchanted by the process of tattooing. And from then, I became a tattoo artist. Started working at a shop in Miami, and I worked there for a year and a half before I came up to Tallahassee, Florida. At the time, because there was no social media, there was no way to learn or to get inspired by new styles instantly. You pretty much had to have the luxury to be able to travel and the luxury of time, because time is money. If you wanted to learn like new skills, there's that barrier, the barrier of learning. Once social media came out, like Instagram and stuff, it was up. So now the gates are open and it's easier to learn new styles and to become inspired. But at that time, it's very like closed loop, tight-lipped type of industry. Tattooing is based off of network and reputation. And if you got into a network, there was the threat of, taking other people's clients. Tattooing is like a high value craft. So like people pay a lot of money for tattooing, and like people's just stingy. There's a competitive nature about knowing that there's a shop within your city or within a certain mile radius of you, and y'all competing for clients. So that competitive drive is what I've noticed, but the negative side of that is fear. So the fear of sharing information. It's a lot of liability. It's a medical procedure. So there's potential for like infections, diseases, cross-contamination. So it's like you don't want random Joes getting needles and just starting to do tattoos. They call those scratchers in the industry. To help them out, to help new people learn how to do tattoos, I'm developing systems to where it can help them get their foundation, learn the basics of drawing first, so that they can have a lens that they look at for tattooing. If you try to grab a machine and you don't have a lens about how to see the world around you, then you are gonna be a scratcher. But if you are an artist and you from through and through and you know how to draw, then when you learn how to work the machine, everything will click together. But people want to learn how to work the machine, but they don't have no lens, no framework to go about it. So I want to help people by bridging that gap and giving them the foundations of drawing, but in a new age era. So it's not like old school pencil on paper. It's not boring. It's like, this is how you do a tattoo. Let's draw a rose that's going to go on someone. It's more interesting. So I'm beginning to appreciate the lineage of teachers in my family, and it's giving me confidence that I should be able to step up to the task of teaching others. The tattoo industry is very ambiguous. So because it's been gate kept, there's no open standards for a lot of things, and even the regulations are adapting and changing. uh, People have stigmas about tattooing. They view it as risky. So landlords don't automatically want to lease their space to people that own tattoo shops, because sometimes it could be associated with drugs, with violence. Back in the day, the biker gangs, the army, the sailors were the first people in America to get tattoos. So that hyper masculine, aggressive culture has stayed with the tattoo industry. So landlords, they don't want whatever comes along with it associated with their property. So sometimes you might go, I've gone to places where I had my money, I'm ready to go, but the landlord might lease their space to a less risky business. And from a business perspective, that's rightfully so. But for me, I had to hunt. But yes, definitely barriers to entry because of the stigma of tattooing. You just gotta be really persistent. So two things that would probably encapsulate my tattoo vibes. One is Japanese culture. The next is nature. So like I'm come from South Florida and I'm tropics through and through. So I bring that vibe, the plants, the essence into my shop, and that's something that's gonna stay. The paintings that you see behind, those are inspired by Japanese culture with an African American twist. And then there's pictures behind you that's anime, which is Japanese culture. So it's like those two things. The ink that I use is called Kurosumi ink, giving y'all a little bit of game, but the ink that I use is, the name of it is the ink that they create for Japanese paintings. So Kurosumi is the style of black, created black ink. My goal is to bring a chill vibe to the tattoo industry. In the tattoo world, you might go in there and you might hear some rock music or something like that, and it could create a tension. It promotes fear. It's very aggressive. But for me, the nature's like, calm down, let's accept this experience and let's chill out. So that's the vibe that I'm bringing, and my clients say that. It says a lot calmer here. They appreciate the music selection, they appreciate the nature, and it makes them feel more comfortable when they get in such a life-changing experience. Tattoos can be life-changing.